Picture this. A company so powerful it could literally turn the lights off on an entire state. A company hailed as the future of energy, the most innovative corporation in America. And then, in the blink of an eye, it all came crashing down, revealing one of the biggest frauds in history. This is the story of Enron. In the late 1990s, Enron was the darling of Wall Street. Its stock price was soaring, and its executives were treated like rock stars. They claimed to have reinvented the energy market, trading everything from electricity to internet bandwidth. On paper, they were a money-making machine, posting record profits year after year. But behind the glossy reports and confident smiles was a dark secret. Enron wasn't making money. It was inventing it. The masterminds behind this illusion were CEO Kenneth Lay and his protege, Jeff Skilling. Their weapon of choice? A radical accounting method called mark-to-market. Here's how it worked. Normally, a company records revenue when it actually gets paid. But Enron decided to book potential future profits from long-term deals the moment they were signed. So, if they signed a 20-year deal they thought would be worth $1 billion, they'd put that billion on the books immediately, even if they hadn't seen a single penny. It was like counting your chickens not just before they hatched, but before you even owned the farm. This created immense pressure to close bigger and bigger deals, regardless of whether they were actually profitable. The numbers had to go up, no matter what. To analysts and the public, it looked like Enron was a juggernaut of innovation. In reality, it was a house of cards, built on projections and pure fantasy. But mark-to-market accounting was just the beginning. The real deception was hidden where no one could see it. To hide the mountains of debt they were accumulating from failed ventures and bad deals, Enron's chief financial officer, Andrew Fastow, created a web of thousands of special-purpose entities, or SPEs. These were essentially shell companies with names like Raptors and Jedi, designed for one purpose: to take Enron's debt off its official balance sheet. Enron would sell its losing assets to these companies. Since Enron secretly controlled them, it was like moving debt from your right pocket to your left and claiming you were debt-free. This financial magic trick fooled everyone: investors, regulators, and even the most seasoned Wall Street analysts. They saw a company with soaring profits and low debt, the perfect investment. Enron stock climbed to over $90 a share. Employees poured their life savings and retirement funds into company stock, believing they were on a rocket ship to wealth. But the rocket was running on empty. The fraud reached its most cynical peak during the California energy crisis of 2000 and 2001. Suddenly, the most populous state in America was hit with rolling blackouts. Power prices skyrocketed by over 800%. People were left in the dark, businesses suffered, and the state was plunged into chaos. It was presented as a simple supply and demand problem. But Enron traders knew the truth. They were manufacturing the crisis. Leaked audio recordings later revealed the shocking reality. Enron traders were caught on tape boasting about shutting down power plants for maintenance to create artificial shortages, driving up prices and then cashing in. They were literally gaming the system at the expense of millions of people. One trader was heard saying, "Burn, baby, burn. That's a beautiful thing." They nicknamed their strategies Death Star and Get Shorty, treating the livelihoods of Californians like a video game. It was pure market manipulation. And it earned Enron billions. While the company was publicly projecting an image of strength, internally, things were starting to unravel. A few brave employees, like Vice President Sharon Watkins, tried to sound the alarm. In a now-famous memo to Ken Lay, she warned that the company could implode in a wave of accounting scandals. Her warnings were ignored. The executives were too busy cashing in, selling hundreds of millions of dollars of their own stock while encouraging their employees to keep buying. The beginning of the end came in the fall of 2001. Jeff Skilling, who had taken over as CEO just 6 months earlier, abruptly resigned, citing personal reasons. The market panicked. Why would the captain abandon a ship that was supposedly sailing so smoothly? Wall Street started asking tough questions. Journalists began digging deeper into Enron's bizarre financial structures. Finally, the house of cards collapsed. On October 16, 2001, Enron announced a staggering loss of $638 million and revealed it was writing down over $1 billion in assets that had been hidden in Fastow-Co companies. The stock price plummeted. In a matter of weeks, it went from over $90 to less than $1. On December 2, 2001, Enron, the seventh largest company in the United States, filed for bankruptcy. It was the largest corporate bankruptcy in American history at the time. The fallout was catastrophic. Over 20,000 employees lost their jobs. Their retirement savings, tied up in now worthless Enron stock, vanished overnight. People who had planned for a comfortable retirement were left with nothing. The scandal also took down Arthur Andersen, one of the world's top 5 accounting firms, which was found guilty of obstruction of justice for shredding documents related to its Enron audits. It had signed off on the fraudulent numbers for years. The Enron scandal sent shockwaves through the financial world. How could a company so large get away with such a massive fraud for so long? Where were the auditors, the regulators, the banks? The answer was that they were all either complicit or utterly asleep at the wheel. The scandal exposed a systemic failure in corporate governance and oversight. In the aftermath, the U.S. government took action. Congress passed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act in 2002, a landmark piece of legislation designed to prevent another Enron. It imposed stricter rules on accounting firms, required CEOs and CFOs to personally certify the accuracy of their financial statements, and created new penalties for corporate fraud. The trials of Enron's top executives became a national spectacle. Ken Lay died of a heart attack before his sentencing, while Jeff Skilling was sentenced to 24 years in prison. Andy Fasto, the architect of the shell companies, cooperated with prosecutors and received a shorter sentence. The story of Enron is more than just a tale of financial crime. It's a cautionary tale about corporate greed, arrogance, and the dangers of a culture that values profits above all else. It shows how easily numbers can be manipulated and how quickly the truth can be buried. It reminds us that when something looks too good to be true, it probably is. The legacy of Enron lives on, not just in the laws it inspired, but as a permanent scar on the face of corporate America, a powerful reminder of what happens when ambition and deception go unchecked. And when Enron finally collapsed, it didn't just take down a company. It took down people, real families, real retirements, real lives. Thousands of employees who trusted the system woke up one morning to find their jobs gone, their savings wiped out, their pensions turned to dust. All because a handful of executives thought they were too smart to ever get caught. The truth is, Enron wasn't just a scandal. It was a warning. A warning that when numbers can be twisted, when markets can be manipulated, and when regulators fall asleep, the public is always the one who pays the price. And here's the uncomfortable part. The tricks Enron used? They didn't die in 2001, they just got repackaged. Modern markets still use the same accounting loopholes, the same offshore tricks, the same creative valuations, only with better branding and bigger lawyers. So the real question isn't, how did Enron fall? The real question is, how many Enrons exist right now? How many companies are balancing on a tower of paper profits, ready to collapse the moment someone looks closely? If you want to understand the next financial disaster, you have to understand this one. Thank you for watching Historimistic. If you found value in this video, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with someone who still believes big companies always tell the truth. And remember, history doesn't repeat, but financial fraud definitely does. Thanks for watching. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world.